Hey, it's Sammy for another episode of the IdOMUSIC podcast, and our goal and our mission is to empower and educate musicians and artists worldwide. And on today's episode, we sat down with legendary producer K-Fam discussing being an award-winning producer, working with legends like Teddy Riley, and the importance of handling the business. You're now listening to the IdOMUSIC podcast. I'm your host, Sammy, and I'm sitting down with producer, Patchwerk family, K-Fam. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm blessed and favored.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm a little tired, but we here. We made it.
We here.
Thank you. So I wanted to start off by telling people where you're from. It's not often that I meet a lot of people who are from the city. So you're from a native of East Point.
Yes.
Yes. I'm a native of the Southwest Atlanta area myself.
Oh, how about it?
Yes. So I think East Point bred, especially early on in like Atlanta's hip hop scene. Yeah. A lot of talented musicians were raised there.
Yeah.
How do you think your hometown or of East Point groomed you to be such a successful producer in the industry, if it did?
I mean, with so much talent, stemming from East Point and College Park was so next door. True. It almost kind of intertwined.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't allow other people from outside of East Point or College Park to come in and dictate what we were and what we were doing. Mm-hmm. But I grew up with the likes of Divine Stevens, who put me on in my early stages. He used to always take me around L.A. Reid when LaFace first got here.
Right.
He was doing this thing, and then he so happened to seek me out, and he was like, yo, I know you DJ a little bit, but I know you play a little bit too. You're a producer, so why don't you come rock with me? So I'm like, all right, cool. So I came to rock with him a little bit, and in the midst of that, I was always around Pat Brown and Ray from Organized Noise, and those were my boys, man. So we kind of grew up together. And in the midst of all that, Patchwerk, when it was up the street, we used to come there all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though we was from East Point, there was a few little studios around there, but when they spoke of Patchwerk, they were like, that was like big shots.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you met, you talk about Divine Stevens, music executive and choreographer.
Absolutely.
You met him early on?
Yes. We was in high school together, actually.
Okay.
Actually, we weren't together. He was at M.D. Collins, and I was at William A. Russell High School in East Point. And but we used to always do talent shows together and stuff. So we would do our little singing thing, or back then we were breakdancing and stuff like that, and they was Divine and what was they called? FTC at the time.
Okay.
So,
and can you tell our listeners about who Divine is and some of his accomplishments in the music industry, like for those who may not know?
We got time
it's a
for
long
that?
list. It's a long list.
We got time.
Yeah,
for
we
that?
got plenty of time. Let's talk about it.
That guy. I mean, when LaFace first got here, they sought him out because he was him and FTC were one of the most talented groups of people that I'd ever seen, with him and Nick and a few other guys that was in the group. And he went on to do choreography from TLC to Michael Jackson to Blackstreet to I don't know anybody in the music industry that he didn't touch.
Wow.
Yeah, he touched everybody, but he groomed himself into becoming like he was getting ready to be a rap artist and all that other kind of stuff with Divine and 90 Miles an Hour. But his niche was choreography, because to be honestly, I don't know anybody that could choreograph better than he could. He helped this girl named Fatima, taught her a lot of stuff, and she went on to do the Remember the Time video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's been in the game for a minute.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you talked about singing with Divine. You grew up singing and playing instruments, right?
Yes.
What instrument did you start off with? Like, I feel like a lot of times, or in this day and age, in 2018, a lot of producers don't play instruments. They have the software and they,
Yeah, they do. I mean,
and they just do it.
I don't take away from that, but to me, I feel like we've lost real music in the midst of that. You know what I mean? Like my son, I'm teaching him now But the way I'm teaching him is he needs to understand, even though he used Fruity Loops and he do the software and that's cool, but I'm trying to teach him what an oboe is, what a flute is, what a French horn is, so that, some of those things he can incorporate in his music, because those are beautiful instruments. They make beautiful, beautiful sounds. And a lot of times they sample this and sample that and use loops and all that other kind of stuff. They don't even know where it came from. They just do it.
Right.
I'm trying to educate my son.
Definitely.
And anybody I come in contact with, actually.
So what did you start off playing?
Keyboard.
Yeah.
Drum machine, SB1200, MPC. Like a lot of us, from the B Cox, the Jazzies, and the J Dubs, which I'm a Noontime alumni, so we came from that.
Yeah, we've been trying to connect those pieces a little bit, Noontime, but
Yeah, Noontime's a pillar, man. They was a marquee.
Well, tell us about your days at Noontime.
Oh man,
what's a good story you could think back on, like how you got connected with those guys?
Okay, it was Noonie, Chris, and Ryan. Those were the executives of Noontime and the owners of Noontime. J-Dub and Dent were the first there. Jeffrey Walker and Anthony Dent were the first there. And then Shakir was there too. God rest his soul. Missed that guy alive. And we, when we were there, we started out just trying to make music the way it should be made. We were using real instruments and stuff. We would have instrumentalists come in to link up with us. But of course, we were in the box doing the MPC and the SB1200s and all that other kind of stuff. But the one good thing I remember about that was I remember Brian Michael Cox. He used to come to the studio a lot of times, and he would just sit in some people's sessions. And a lot of times they wouldn't allow him in, but I would always allow him in. I don't know. I always thought something was cool and special about Brian. But he would come in there and he would sit there and watch me try to come up with stuff, because I play by ear. Well, he plays by he knows music theory, and I couldn't get this chord to save my life. And Brian would be like,
"Excuse me,
I know what you're trying to play." He was like, "I'm like, for real?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, show me then." So he come over and played exactly what I need, and I was like, "That's it."
Wow.
And that was cool. Then right after that, me and Jazzy Faye came together, and we were producing together and stuff. We were becoming a team. But then, Jazzy started doing this thing, and I went another way. But it was cool. But Noonie got tired of calling me Ken Fambro. Man, I'm tired of calling you Ken Fambro. I'm just gonna call you K Fam. I'm like, okay, and it stuck.
Wow.
And that's
how it came. That's how it came about. Okay, yeah. we got that on out of the way. I'm like, what is K Fam?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Henry Lee.
Nice. So you particularly played drums and piano. That's where it started, which usually seems to be the foundation for the great producers. Yeah. Why would you say being a musician first helps being a great producer? Like, why is that essential? Like you talked about Brian Michael Cox knowing and understanding music theory, where a lot of people don't. And even musicians nowadays don't really know that. So why is that important, if it is?
I mean, it's important to those that know it, those that want to know it, but it's not an essential thing that you have to know music theory. You know what I'm saying? As long as you just got a good ear and just have a good vibe, then you can pretty much make it. Like a lot of producers don't play or don't know music theory. I'm one of them. Mm-hmm. But because God has blessed me with an ear, and it's funny how I learned. My mom played piano and organ a little bit, and she would sit me in her lap and play with me and play for me and whatever. And then I asked God, I said, God, I want to learn I want to play. He said, well, place your fingers on the keys. Mm-hmm. He said, now move one finger down at a time as you would play. Now, how does that sound? I'm like, man, this is crazy. And that's how I kind of picked up on it. So I didn't know music theory, but I had a pretty good ear.
Right.
And that's how and learning how to play, mimicking other chords and other songs helped too.
What would you say that you absolutely know that you can do that others may not be able to do as well as you can? It's okay. Toot your horn.
Humble.
I know, I understand, but I mean, there's some things that you recognize in yourself, especially coming up during that time. You named multiple producers who are as successful and who have, these credits as well. But what was it? Why did people come to K-Fam?
I knew records. I would be able to hear a track and know where the snare and kick came from. Like my most favorite producer and artist is James Brown, hands down. Like more so than any other artist out there in the whole world that's known. James Brown was my favorite. Then came Teddy Riley because he's the only producer in this whole world that had his own genre of music, New Jack Swing. True. You got pop, hip hop, rap, and all that, but then you had New Jack Swing. He created that. And I used to pattern myself after him because it was so amazing. Yeah. But I didn't know what I was doing. And I said, God, and every time I would say, I'm gonna meet this person one day, I'm gonna meet this person one day, I would always meet him every time. And so I said, I'm gonna meet. Yeah, I'm gonna meet Teddy Riley. Okay, without telling my age, it was like 1989. And it was at Club Sensation, which was in Decatur off of Covington Highway, and we opened up for a guy.
Oh, wow.
Me and my little rap team I had called Power, me and my cousin Benny Tillman, and my cousin DJ Fonzo, who's also a pillar of East Point. Yeah, and I asked him, I said, how did you come up with Teddy Jam? He said, I just groove, bro. He don't know music theory either, I don't think, but his ear and his groove and just the talent that he has and the love of music that he has manifested to be what is called New Jack Swing. And it's something that should still be here, but of course, things evolve,
right? Yeah. So you talked about singing early on, you talked about rapping early on, breakdancing, you done it all. Yeah. What made you say, well, okay, let me be a producer, let me stick to this side of things? Or were you really, did you have your heart set on being an artist?
See, now you're getting ready to make me say stuff.
Go ahead. We don't have to talk about it. I mean, we
all were aspiring artists at some point in our minds and hearts. But what drew me to just wanting to just be a producer was being able to make people move, make people feel, make people, want to gravitate to you because of something that you could do musically, so. And like I said, the greats from Teddy Riley and James Brown and Prince and who else am I say? Pete Rock and all those guys, what I'm saying? Like they made, and Easy Mo B, which is another one of my favorite producers, just made me just say, this is what I want to do. I love this. And I guess that's what, that's how it happened, yeah.
Could you explain or give us more on what a producer actually does, or what is it, in your opinion, what does a producer do?
Okay. We are what I look at it as calling like short order cooks. What is a short order cook? When you go to Waffle House and you say, I want quarter cheese plate, scattered, smothered, covered, and all such whatever.
Right.
The person that's cooking for you can't just go, nah, man, you don't need that. You need to eat this. You need to eat that. He's got to be able to give you what you order and ask for. So when you would ask me to do a certain kind of track, I would have to come up with that type of track.
Gotcha.
Instead of trying to give you what I want. I got to give the people what they want. Producers are people that take music from beginning to its end. You know what I'm saying? From nothing. Puffy doesn't play, but he's a producer because he knows how to take a project or a song from its beginning to its end. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And give the people what they want. Mm-hmm. It's not even just him giving people what he wants. He knows how to listen to James Brown and take Big Payback. Boom, ba-dum, well. He knows how to take that and put it on total. Oh, baby, can't you? And it's a smash.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same thing if you saw the Notorious he did with Biggie. This gonna be a hit. They were looking at him like, bro, you gonna bring in some M2 like, really? And look at what it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. Because, I guess I asked that, or I want you to kind of give me more of, the producer's job, essentially. It's his role, he or she's role. Because, you refer to some producers as beat makers because they just, send it off. Were you in these rooms, in these spaces, working with the artists? How was the process for you as a producer? How is the process for you?
I mean, you have to get to know who you're working with. Mm-hmm. I remember one time when Usher came to my house, and he said, "Fam, you've been doing this for a minute, man. What makes you groove and do what you do as a producer? What gives you that feel and that sound? What makes a smash to you? You really don't know what a smash is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a lot of repetition that goes into that and consistency. But I just told him, like, just reaching inside and whatever you feeling that day, whatever you thinking that day, whatever the vibe is that day, you go off of that. Like I said, a producer is a person that takes a song from its beginning to its end. Just like any other production, as somebody produces water, they got to take it from filtration to all the things that needs to be done to it before you get the actual product.
Right.
You know what I mean? So same thing with being a producer. It's a lot of ingredients that go into it before it becomes what you hear on the radio.
Definitely. See, yeah, that's what I was getting at. So you worked on your very first project with Teddy Riley. I don't think that, kind of.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I say my very first project. Boy, am I telling my age? Was Cool Mo D.
Okay. Really?
And the Treacherous 3. Yeah. When I worked with Ian Burke and Easy Lee.
Yeah.
Which was Mr. Moyer. He was the DJ for Treacherous 3, and I did the album called Old School. I forget. I know it's Old School something. I can't remember it right now, but Old School Flavor. That was the name of the album, and I had the title track. Actually, I did that first track. So that was my first thing I've ever done professionally.
Gotcha.
And then after that, Divine introduced me to, like I said, L.A. Reid and all that stuff, and I worked with them and came up with some stuff with Rest or So, Left Eye and TLC or whatnot, and then after that, Teddy Riley, he introduced me to Blackstreet.
Gotcha.
Years ago, so yeah.
So tell us about that experience, like working with somebody that you were inspired by, you know what I mean, you look to, no?
I ain't gonna lie, I was a little grouped out. I mean, I'm sitting up here watching this guy on the talk box or whatever, a vocoder at the time, and I'm just mesmerized. Like, this guy, he's the guy that did How Deep Is Your Love, and he the guy that a lot of people don't know did Slick Rick's, Dougie Fresh. What was the name of that record? The Show.
Oh, really?
That's Teddy Riley. To know all that,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this guy got beyond hits.
Right.
He did Don't Take My Mind on a Trip by Boy George, and the song, one of my very, very favorites was Jane Child. What was the song? Oh my God, I can't remember the name of the song. It'll come to me in a second. I know it will. But he did the Jane Child record, and from that point, I just knew that I was right with the right person, and
Definitely.
God blessed me to be in His presence to learn from him.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What would you say that taught you early on, just like professionally being in a space with because you started, everything kind of manifested itself.
Yeah.
You talked about you said you wanted to meet these people and they came into your life. Working with Divine Stevens and then being introduced to L.A. Reid and so on and so forth. Yeah. What would you say that taught you early on about being professional, even from, getting your money, being credited for certain things? What would you say early on that taught you?
I'm glad you said that. To be honest with you, got to be 100.
Please.
I didn't learn
at
that time. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't privy to because I'm just so creative. I just want to be creative.
Yeah.
So when it came to the business aspect, I lacked a little bit of that knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But now that I've learned that, I'm teaching my son the right way. You know what I'm saying? And I think, even when it comes to, without trying to jump too far off the subject, Patchwerk is a pillar it's like an institution to me. It's not just the studio. You can learn so much from Kirk, man. When he sits there and talk to you, he be giving you game and knowledge. Now, it's up to you what you do with it. But he does kind of help you to get to the next level and see things in a different light. It ain't all just about music. It's actually this business of music instead of the music business.
Right.
And, like I said, without trying to get too far off subject, Patchwerk and Kirk shows you that.
No, that's the point. We try to educate. We want to make sure that people are educated on, how to actually make money and profit off of what you're doing. You're already spending, money to make the music, the studio time, the equipment. You want to make that back, right?
Absolutely.
Why would you say early on that the beginning was an important part of your professional career though? Why was that an essential part to where you are today? Because
if you do it right in the beginning, you'll have a future. Other than that, you'll find yourself trying to play catch up to find where your money is, to find out how to get to it. And a lot of time that take a lot of money just to do that, to find the people that can help you do that. So I encourage people out here, man, to Really do your split sheets. Really do your homework on, you know, how stuff is put together. Like I never knew about, well, I think it's IRSC codes
ISRC.
ISRC codes. I don't know why I always get the IR.
Everybody says it.
ISRC codes.
You think about the IRS.
I know. They come for you. They come for you. But I learned about that from Kurt.
Yep.
I cannot lie. He told me about that, and I was like, what's that? He was like, well, fam, that's the stuff, that's the code that go into your record so that it accumulates when plays and things of that nature that you can, you know, start to receive your residuals from that, whether it be from ASCAP, BMI, whoever you're associated or affiliate with. If you don't do that, somebody else will, and they'll be collecting your money, bro.
Right.
And I'm like, what? He was like, yeah.
Good game.
Yeah. Kirk is the best, man.
I wanted to ask you, like, do you, in terms of like the differences, so you said that you're teaching your son now, like, you know, he's working with like Fruity Loops and all of these different programs and softwares now as like a producer in 2018. What would you say that some of the like differences that you maybe don't like or you hate, and some that you really enjoy, like you feel like, oh, that made it a lot easier. I kind of like working like this.
Well, I mean, it takes, when you go to different studios or whatnot, that's a lot of money that you have to pay out for by the hour. You know what I mean? So if you can get a lot of stuff done prior to that, but prior to going to the studio to actually do it professionally, because one thing I will say, you can have your own home studio. That's cool. Get your ideas out. Get your own little equipment. Get, you know what I'm saying? You can't call yourself a producer if you don't have the things you need to be. It's like having an artist. I'm an artist, but where's your pencils? Where's your easel? Where's your palette and all this other kind of stuff? Where's all that stuff at? So you have to be able to do your stuff at home. But when you come to a studio like a Patchwerk and other established studios, you have to have your stuff together. And that's what makes it easier with doing it at home first before you get here.
Right. So you're not wasting no time.
So you're not wasting no time.
Right. Absolutely. So you learned that building relationships early on would be very helpful to you later on, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Why are maintaining like genuine relationships important to you? From the Divine to Teddy to,
because those guys, you know, they have offsprings and they have their family, they have children too, and then, you know, they teach and groom them so that when they pass it on, those kids are in position to help my kids. Because I've had a relationship with them. You know what I mean? So me having a relationship with Curtis or whatnot, now I can have my son come by and have a sit down with Curtis because I've had that relationship with. And Curtis can like, okay, man, this is what you're going to need to know. This is what you're going to need to do to get to here, to get to there. And don't just look at it as the beats that you made you good with from where they are. You know what I'm saying? They have to be mixed properly, mastered properly, and all that other kind of stuff. And, you know, a lot of times we as producers and stuff, we create it, but we don't know all that stuff, man. And even when it comes to the business, you know, Curtis helps, you know what I'm saying, would take you to that next level when it comes to the knowledge of it all.
Definitely.
Straight up.
So I think one of the projects that I was most fascinated with that you were a part of was you were able to work with Destiny's Child on Writings on the Wall and Survivor, along with another legendary producer, Rodney Jenkins. Yes, and y'all were the only two producers that landed on both those projects, which I thought was awesome.
You know, it's funny that Matthew said to me, he said, fam, you know, it ain't because I think you're a cool brother. I think you're cool, but that's not what got you on the album. What got you on the album is because your music was on the level to get you on that album. And shouts out to Shakir Stewart and Rudy Brahmer, who got me hooked up with the Destiny Child Writings on the Wall album. And I was signed to Hitco. Shouts out to LaRonda Sutton. She was at Chrysalis, but then she came over to Hitco and helped us out with that situation. But yeah, man, I mean, that was fun times.
What do you think you and Mr. Jenkins have in terms of production that other producers may not have had? What was it about your music that landed you on both those projects?
I mean, just doing our homework, knowing what was hot, knowing what was the latest thing. Even till this day, I still do that. Some days I don't even do music. I'll just do sound search. I'll just go what they call, I'm a sound hoe. What that means is I got too many sounds, too many VSTs or virtual instruments to just they used to call me the plug-in king. Shouts out to my boy Travis Cherry too, because he a plug-in king too. But me and Rodney always just stayed on top of what was hot,
Right.
and being able to be innovative with the new sound. You know what I'm saying? To just do some different stuff.
So what would you say is like staying, or would you say you're like staying above the trend, staying on top of the trend versus like following it? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was staying. I was always trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I was always trying to do that.
Okay. Some of the people that you've worked with, like you mentioned Teddy Riley, do you feel like you guys get the respect you deserve in terms of like what you've done throughout? Because now we don't even look at credits. We don't look at,
All right.
and even then, did you utilize like drops and things to say like, hey, this was K-Fam?
I mean, nope.
Right.
I don't.
People just knew, right?
Right. I mean, I remember my boy Fife Dog said, I don't need a trophy to tell you how nice I am. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have those Grammys and plaques and stuff. That's really good to show your accolade, but it's not about that to me. It's a bigger picture. I want to be able to just teach these kids these days, man, that, do your homework. Like, find out who's who and where what came from. All this stuff y'all sampling, 9 times out of 10, that was somebody else's work. You gotta pay homage to that. Mm-hmm. And that's what I believe in.
Definitely. So you spoke a little bit about Organized Noise and working with those cats. I was gonna say, Andre just came out with 2 tracks for Mother's Day.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that
was
crazy?
surprising.
I know. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, me either. But then also Organized Noise, they've been doing their thing within the last few years, the documentary to, get him in with like younger producers and, creating.
Yeah.
And even their projects. So what was it like though during that time when y'all were all coming up, or when they were coming up too, especially being Organized Noise, being from East Point, College Park area, like, y'all have an authentic, I think Atlanta itself has like such an authentic sound, which is why a lot of the labels and things were here.
Yeah.
And they're coming back, right?
Absolutely, they are.
What is it? Why Atlanta? Why that sound?
That Georgia Red Clay, man.
That's the only thing you can say.
That's all I can say. I mean, and to be honest with you, we all felt like we were lightweight geniuses at that time. It was always fun and good competition. It was never really no bad competition really like that. We would always just try to help each other, man. We would always go to each other's house after school or after, on the weekends and just hang out when we didn't have to do anything else and just come up with different sounds and play with different instruments and just be creative and just, we cultivated each other actually, what I mean? Organized Noise, they were just a cut above the rest, man. Them boys were just geniuses, and so was Jermaine Dupri too, you know what I mean? And Dallas Austin. These are guys I came up with. I know them, they know me. We always just shared sounds and things like that with each other, man. But when opportunity knocks, some people grab it, some people don't.
That's
and
true.
They grabbed it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I grabbed it too, a little bit behind them, but they still opened up the doors for a lot of us to be able to do what we do. Yeah. I've been knowing Andre 3000 ever since he was like 14 years old. His cousin was Angelo Redding, was my very first manager.
Oh wow.
Ever. Yeah.
So talk about that. Like we were talking about the business a little bit, and you may not have been too privy to it in the beginning.
Right.
And there are things that Kurt may have taught you, or the people may have taught you along the way. But what is it about the producer? A lot of times they're handling a lot of things on their own. Do you believe that you, as a producer, should seek management or seek, guidance and help in that respect on the business side of things?
Yeah, whatever you are involved in, you just got to be proactive in your own business. And that's something I kind of lacked because I was just so creative. I would always just put my trust in a lot of people because all I wanted to do was just produce.
Right.
It's not like, you're going to be my manager or you're going to be my manager. You know what I'm saying? Just handle that. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do to give you the ammunition to do what you need to do to take us to the next level. And a lot of times it didn't work out that way. So,
Tell me what was one of your favorite moments of, like, throughout your career, like something you just were like, that we haven't already discussed, because I'm sure there are a few that you were like, dang, I'm in the right place, I made the right decision about what I decided to do with the rest of my life.
When I worked with Boys II Men.
Oh, really?
When I work with Boys Men, when I work with 112 as well, you know. I've been knowing them guys ever since they were 14 years old. But I would like to say, as of right now, I feel like I'm right where I'm starting to get right where I want to be.
And where is that?
I'm working with this guy by the name of Rubel, and he's from the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And he's just genuine, good people, honest. That's very rare in the music industry these days.
Right.
So with that being said, he and I have started a new venture. It's called Sound District and Beat Freaks. It's a collab. So I feel like finally I'm starting to go where I want to go.
And what is it that you'll be doing in this new venture?
Different music.
Okay.
Not no disrespect. Love America. Wouldn't trade it for the world. But now I'm getting ready to start venturing off and doing some stuff where we're trying to bring Bengali music, which is Middle Eastern music, Bengali music and American music, and fusing it together.
Have you heard of our artist Raja Kumari? Raja Kumari?
I have not, but I'm probably sure he has. And that, since you said it, make sure you give me that name again.
I got you, yeah.
So that I can look him up.
Indian American, but still Indian music. But yeah, great music is definitely important, and that's what it's universal.
Absolutely.
It's universal, so it's cool. So what's the Beat Free Eyes? We got a lot of...
everybody says that. Beat Free Eyes. It's not Beat Free Eyes, it's Beat Freaks, as in frequency.
Oh, I see the Q.
You see the little Q, and it's got the little line through. You know what? Help me out, man. You tell me, should I make that little line?
You got to make it a little curve, a little something.
But I was trying to use it as like a VU meter. You know how the meter?
Oh, I see.
That's what that's supposed to represent, so to speak.
Okay.
But I got that name.
Free Eyes, like.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
Okay.
When they see this, Beat Free Eyes, Beat Free Out. It's Beat Freaks, as in frequency. They be like, oh, that's dope. That's clever. I like that. That's dope. I was like, yeah, I wish you got that from the beginning. But because you didn't, that means I got that. And I get that all the time.
You got some work to do. We just got to make the cue, more like a curve.
But if I make it a curve, then it won't look like a VU meter. So I think you
still get the idea.
Yeah, I'm going to try that.
We'll get you connected with some graphic artists or something. Yes. Make it happen.
I need that.
So tell me, like, one of the most, if it has been a challenging experience for you, being in the music industry, because you've talked a little bit about now working with people who are genuine and honest, which you don't find, which means that I'm assuming you probably come around people who were ingenuine in the past. So what's been the most challenging part of attacking it head on? Finding
out how much money that's been taken from you or stolen from you. Once you now get in the right position, or once you get to start to figure out why you don't have what you're supposed to have, and then when you get with the right people that show you why you don't have it, and you start seeing where your money went and you can't get it back unless you go sue, which is going to cost money again.
Right.
You say to yourself, why didn't I just do that in the beginning?
Right.
So definitely young artists and young producers and writers out here, please, man, seek some real, do your homework, like do some research, get with some people that know this game, set up an appointment. I had to pay for studio time to do it with Curtis, but he'll show you the way on some stuff, man.
Do you think that a lot of younger artists and producers kind of understand that, or no? You think
a lot of them don't understand, because all they want, like my son, all he wants to do is just do the beats, make up tracks, come up with this, come up with that, put it on SoundCloud, put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, and he sway the man. Nah, bro, like, you basically kind of giving it away. Why? You know what I'm saying? Because now somebody else is able to hear that and either steal your idea or whatever, because it's not copywritten.
Right.
You got to have that stuff copywritten, man, and that's important.
How do you feel about people sending beats out and then, or leasing beats and those types of things where it's like, you can have it for 3 months, but I'm going to need that back?
That's like dangling a carrot in front of in front of a rabbit or a horse, man. Like, I don't really, to me, it kind of diminishes the actual value of a producer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you can lease a beat for $25, $30, that's just rehooking up your equipment time. I mean, there's no value in that. You know what I'm saying? To me, I think that when people made mixtapes and putting their music out there for free like that, those were people who were already signed, who already made it, or who had the capital to just be able to do that, to be able to just flood the market with their stuff to be heard. People like, you know what I'm saying, the younger generation or the people that's out here now that's trying to do that, making mixtape, putting their stuff out there, get heard, but then at the same time, they don't have the marketing dollars and all that stuff to put behind it. That can be pretty expensive, and then a lot of times, the people that you want to hear it don't get a chance to hear it.
That's true. What would you suggest for like the indie artist or the person that's coming up, the producer that's coming up that doesn't have the dollars behind them, but they're still trying to get heard by the right person? What do you do?
Keep grinding, stay consistent. You know what I'm saying? Invest in yourself. You know, don't just go to somebody you heard that can mix your stuff or master your stuff. Go to where it's quality, where it really makes a difference on the airwaves, that when people hear it, they be like, that's banging. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I can't speak enough about Patchwerk and Curtis and the whole staff here. It's just beyond amazing at what they do. You know, and when you get your stuff done, like when I get my stuff done, I'll do it at the house, but when I know it's getting ready to have to go to the radio or to a video or something like that, I got to go to Patchwerk.
Definitely.
I go to Patchwerk because they do it right, you know what I mean? And that's real talk. I'm not just saying that. It's real talk.
So you talk about like respecting or like having like these people that you walked into spaces with early on in your career that were legendary in your eyes. And I kind of asked you this earlier, like, do you feel like people get the credit for what they've done? Why is it that you respect certain people like a James Brown or a Teddy Riley, or like what qualities did they have in their artistry that made you respect them? Or what qualities do you see in yourself that you feel like people should respect you?
Transcending. It's timeless. You know what I mean? Like, they put a lot of work and effort into what they do. They literally love what they do. It wasn't just for the money. It wasn't just a paycheck. You know what I'm saying? They actually did stuff and did music for the masses to enjoy. So, I mean, and I see a lot of that. Like, my quality of music that I do, they always say, oh, your music is big, it's big. Well, that's because, I don't think like, small. I don't think, I use
every. Big as in the sound or
yes,
like?
in the sound. Yeah. Like, I'll use an oboe in my record. I'll use a French horn in my record, a bassoon. I use all those things in my records because I'm not afraid of that. I love orchestration, period. So people like Brian Michael Cox, Jeffrey Walker, Teddy Riley, and all those greats, they do that stuff still to this day too. And some of our kids look at that and go, what's that? That's too much. Well, why is it too much? It's because you don't know what it is, don't understand it? Or is it because, you know, everything is just made with a snare, kick, hi-hat, clap, and a sample maybe, and that's it.
Right.
You don't realize that even within that sample, it's orchestration sometimes. There's real instruments that are there.
Right.
Everything ain't so synthy, you know, but hey, I don't hate on it. I don't. Because a lot of stuff I hear that these kids are doing is real creative, man. It's dope. I like it. What
do you feel about, like, or how do you feel about, like, the industry being so microwavable, though? Because, I mean, at the end of the day...
Did you just say microwavable?
Yeah.
Man, that's what my folks used to say. You on your game.
I mean, it's facts, though, like, because, you know, at least for me, somebody who digests music all the time,
right?
I don't know, like, I was like, oh, yeah, I heard that song or whatever, but it sounds alike.
Yeah.
And I'm not hating in no way, form, or fashion either, because I like some of the music that comes out. But when you talk about timeless records versus... Because you weren't just putting out records after record after record. It was like y'all were in the studio for maybe months at a time to work on albums and things like that. Nowadays, artists are pressured into putting out a tape.
Yeah.
Then their fans are like, I want another one.
Right.
I want another one. I need the video. I need this. And I recently saw, not to like veer off too far, but like I recently saw, I think it was Nicki Minaj that was like, I'm going to put the video out when I'm ready. Like,
right.
It's not on your time. Like, we have to actually sit down and make this a timeless
absolutely
piece.
People need to take their time. Like, I think everything is a process.
Right.
Trust the process.
Right.
Don't just rush and do something. You know, I'm quite sure when they made the iPhone, they didn't rush that. When they made I swear I can't just help but talk about this beautiful place down there in Patchwerk. He did not rush to do this. This took years in the making to happen. But when it happened, it's amazing. It's a place you want to come to. It's a place you want to be involved and be a part of. You know what I mean? The same way when it came to him, when it came to Curtis. You know, it was a process for him to learn all the things that he knows now to help us, even still to this day, to be able to get to the next level and further ourselves in our education in music. It was never something that he just learned real quick and just started doing. It was something that he took his time with, and it was a process, and it blossomed into what is one of the leading studios in the country.
Definitely. I guess even to go further on that, it's like, do you believe that there's room in this industry for timeless records? If so, have you heard any recently?
Bruno Mars does a great, Beyonce, of course, still does a great job with all that kind of stuff. They also give us a little bit of what's happening out here, a little millennial stuff, but they still do timeless records. They still do real records. And I love the fact that 112 just got back on tour. Not only did some of their timeless records that were hits, but they still gave you, what's happening today, and it's still timeless.
Definitely. What was your favorite working with? You said 112 and Boyz II Men.
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
Which one was my favorite?
Yeah.
Which group was my favorite? What was my favorite record?
I don't want to. What was your favorite record? I don't want to go there.
Well, my record, I like True Colors. That was my record. I love that record. But Dangerous Love, I think that's what it was. I love that record. Shouts out to Black Elvis on that. Oh man, amazing. The record is amazing. Shouts out to the Heat Miser with the records that he did. So these guys, the producers and stuff the producers that worked on this album, they took their time, and they still give you timeless music.
Yeah,
it's out there, and I just wish that people could take the time out to say, I want to hear that. Yeah, more of that. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want to see here, and I think it's gonna happen.
It's a lot to digest.
It is. But like you said, it's so microwave out here, man.
Do you feel like you had any music mentors coming up? Like, you hear that all the time, like so-and-so helped me learn this and whatever. Yeah. Like, did you have music mentors coming up, and who were those people?
Absolutely. Of course, James Brown, like I said, is definitely a music mentor for me because he has so much control over his band and his music and how disciplined everybody was to start on time and stop on time. To me, that means a lot too. Teddy Riley, he's like the godfather. He's like the big bro to a lot of us producers these days. Right. Besides that, you got people like I love J Moss and Paul Allen. They were amazing over at Pajam. They taught me a lot of stuff too. Mario Winans was one of my mentors. Really? Yes. A very, very amazing musician and producer. Incredible. He and Jeffrey J. Walker were I looked up to those guys. So Jam and Lewis, Prince, all the greats. All the greats. Of course, we take a page out of all their books.
Right, definitely. Yeah. Now, you talked about transcending. What does that mean for you today with what you're working on in the Middle East, what you're working on with, like, the Universal Music, Timeless Records, the Beat Freaks? Got it right.
But yes, Beat Freaks. Yeah.
Got it right. But what is it that you had to learn now? Or how did you have to learn now to, like, transcend within this current, like, music market?
Let everybody be themselves. And not try to hate on real musicians versus software musicians. You know what I mean? I mean, creativity is what it is. There's no right or wrong about it. It's just what it is.
It's all subjective.
Yeah, it's all subjective. It's all emotional. It's from within. And you can't tell somebody that's doing what they feel from within that is wrong. Right. Now just let them do them. Like my son. At first I used to hate a little bit. I can't lie. I used to hate a little bit. Just a little bit. But then after that I was like, hey man, I like what you're doing. But let me show you this and this. You don't have to do it. But let me just show you what it sounds like. Let me show you what this is so that you can maybe incorporate that with what you're doing or what you know about now. Because a lot of stuff that they do, I don't even know what it is really. But you know, they making smashes off of it,
Right.
For real. Like we used to hate on Fruity Loops at first, like using Fruity Loops, that's like using a Tonka toy. You know what I'm saying? It's like some old until I don't know if it was Dr. Luke or who it was. It was some producers that used Fruity Loops and made smashes off of it. Now Fruity Loops is like one of the most leading softwares in the world.
Definitely. I had Fruity Loops. I didn't do nothing with it, but I had it.
You had
I had it on my computer. Yeah, I did.
But what's your favorite DAW right now? Is it Pro Tools?
Oh, I don't produce. I was just saying, you know, like I play instruments.
Okay.
So I just
there it is.
Yeah, back in school. So I had it, you know.
Right,
but I
right.
wasn't. No.
I had it too.
Let's not.
I had it too.
So what?
She probably do. She just ain't told y'all. She probably can.
I'm cooking up at the house.
Straight up cooking up.
So what? I mean.
No, you is.
I'm not. I swear. What software do you use now, though? Like, what is it that are you still using some of the same things that you've always used? Like,
I started out using. Everybody used the MPC first.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated from that into using Pro Tools because the way I looked at it is that's industry standard.
Right.
You got Pro Tools, then when you get your stuff mixed and mastered, because I always be, like I said, Mike Wilson, he, if I haven't mentioned him, shouts out to Mike Wilson.
Definitely.
He the one had me messing with stuff when it came to Pro Tools.
Mm-hmm.
And Mishka from L.A. Taught me Pro Tools as well. And they said, fam, use this because this is what the music industry is headed towards. This is what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
At first it was Sound Tools or something like that, but then it came to Pro Tools or whatnot. And I had it ever since it was Pro Tools 5 or 4 or something, Pro Tools, something like that. And me and Clifford Henson met one day and like, I got Pro Tools 6. And he was like, man, I just bought mine. I just got mine. It just came in the mail. So what do you like about it? And I told him what I liked about it. So I transcended from, I grew from Pro Tools to Cliff taught me also Reasons. I was messing with that, so I put both of those together. And then after using Pro Tools and Reason, I fell back from that.
Yeah.
And said, you know what, I want to do something different. That's when Teddy Riley and my friend Jay Hott was like, hey, you ever heard of Studio One? I'm like, yeah, but it looks too complicated. They were like, fam, I swear it's not complicated, bro. You'll love it. Mm-hmm. So I started messing with Studio One, and now I've gotten pretty good at it. So I still use Pro Tools to cut my vocals in it, and because I know that Patchwerk probably has every software known to man, but I know that the standard in here is Pro Tools. So whatever I do in my other my creative software, I transfer it over to Pro Tools and make sure it gets the proper credit it needs that way.
So what's the goal? What's the goal now?
Teach my son the best I can. Let him take over business. Bring him down here so Curtis can meet him and teach him and talk to him. He just turned 15 May 1st.
Oh, okay. He's starting off early.
Yeah, but he been doing it since he was like 13, 13, and now he got some bangers.
That's what's
I can't wait for y'all to hear him. Kid Astro, a.k.a. Nico, that's my son.
That's what's up. All right, and then so tell us, I mean, even with like Beat Freaks, is that even with the, I don't remember who you said his
Clifford Henson.
Clifford Henson.
Helped me come up with Beat Freaks.
Mm-hmm. You know, and even like the Middle East and what you're doing like universally, what's the goal? Like, what do you think the plan is to, for music, for you creating music still?
Just let people know that good music is still here. And it has many faces, whether it's here in the States or internationally or universal. Good music is what it is. Good music.
It exists.
It exists. And we as producers, like myself and other older producers, back Teddy Riley and people like that, we not dead. We still can give it to you exactly how you want it and beyond. Believe it.
But everybody ain't got your budget. That's like the main thing. You don't really got the coin for Teddy Riley. So, I mean, there's artists listening, so they're going to try to hit you up.
Yeah. So,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we still willing to, like.
If you see talent.
If we see talent, we trying to nourish it. We trying to make sure it goes in the right direction, but we ain't forcing nothing.
Right.
They're going to do what they do anyway. Mm-hmm. Only thing you want to do is just make sure that it's quality. It has, excellence to it. And to me, once you do your creativity, bring it to Patchwerk. It'll get treated right.
Tell me about like a really memorable session though, because I feel like we haven't really gotten into the stories, and I know there are some stories. You were young, you were out here, and you were surrounded by legendary producers, artists all the time. You
Yeah.
worked with the likes of, I mean, some of my favorites today.
Yeah.
So, what's a good like session you can't forget?
Working with Destiny's Child. When Daryl Simmons had them first, and they were called the Dolls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they were getting ready to change their name, I guess, or whatever. And I would tell Daryl, these girls are amazing. We gotta work with them. He was like, I'm gonna put you in a session with them, and you can work with them. We can get some stuff popping. And that's when, Now That She Gone came about, which was number 7, I think, on the Writings on the Wall album. And then working with Beyonce, Kelly, Latavia, and Beyonce, Kelly, Latavia, and LaToya.
Oh yeah.
They all could sing. A lot of people just thought it was just Beyonce or just maybe Kelly. No, they all could sing. No, they really were all good. But being in a session with them and watching them do what they do, watching them really pay attention and helping each one of them out, each other out. As one would go in the booth, they would all be like chilies. Okay, that's dope. That sounds good. That was some memorable times. The one other memorable time was when I was in a session with Boyz II Men. Jay Moss was on this particular album called Full Circle, and I watched them. I would watch them come in one at a time, and they would probably be somewhere. One probably just came from home, one just flew in from somewhere, or they would walk in and go, "What's the lyric?" Okay, I got it. And then he would go. Wanye would go in and start it off, and then Nate would go in after Wanye and play it one more time. Okay, cool. And then do his part without even rehearsing it. It would just happen. It was like because they've been together the length of time they've been together, they knew each other so well, they didn't have to talk to each other.
Right.
They would just go in one at a time and do their parts, and it would come out magical. I was like, wow.
How about like songwriting? I don't know if we touched on this. Were you involved in any of like creating like the lyrics, or you just piecing everything together? Were you credited for any of those things?
No, I was just producing. But I was good at. I'm good at song. I'm really good at harmony and arranging, but and only a few people know that. The people I work with, they know that I can sing and I arrange and stuff. But most people don't know.
Singing. You started off in the church.
Yep.
Yeah. You said sweat for God. I know you started off in the church.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to the younger producers, artists, songwriters that are listening? What's like the main thing that they should know? It could be anything, whether it be life advice, professional advice in this industry.
Do your research. Do the business, man. Handle the business first. It's this business of music. Trust me, do that first, and everything else will fall in place. Do that. It's this business of music.
Cool. So it seems as if like the biggest artists and some of like the biggest producers and songwriters and whoever in the music industry have run into a bit of financial issues or troubles at some point in their career. For those that aren't quite, well versed in the business side of the music industry that may be listening, could you explain how that's even possible for somebody like a K-Fam or, anybody that we've even talked to on this podcast to run into like financial issues? You don't think that? I
mean, when you don't know publishing, when you don't know where your money is coming from it being played on the airwaves or being performed or being, how can I say, licensed. If you don't know that business, then you're lost, man. I was lost for a long time. And, still sometimes till this day, I'm still learning some more stuff. But that was only because I was just so creative. I didn't do my homework and research. I wasn't proactive in my business that I should have been.
You were more eager and proactive in the
creative side, yeah. And a lot of people have told me, we got you back, we got you. You just stay doing the music, and we gonna handle the business. But they were really handling the business for themselves to benefit off of, and not really me. And in this music industry, it's not about who you know, but it's who you know and how well you know them, and how well they know you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will smile in your face and tell you everything cool, but it really ain't. That's how come I say right now, I'm glad I run into the right people from, like I said, Rubel. Shouts out to Chris Walden. She's my business partner. And and Mo. These guys, these two people I named, Mo and Rubella from the Middle East, and that's what I'm working with now. But shouts out to Curtis, man, because that's somebody that I'm definitely going to come back down and talk with to get a little bit more information on. And Mandumi Robinson, he used to run Hitco and Bug. He's a guru at publishing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna sit down and learn some more stuff from him as well. But you gotta do your homework and your research and be proactive in your business, because if you don't, somebody else is definitely doing it, and you ain't getting it. They are, and you'll be mad later, because that's how I was mad.
That's crazy.
Yes, it's real.
Yeah. So you are, aside from putting out music, K-Fam is all about positivity. I mean, even just like in some of the things that you said, or your energy initially when I just met you this morning. What you have like this positive energy, this spirit about you. Well, why is that? What's the purpose in spreading that sort of?
Well, I mean, it's an old scripture. I don't know exactly what the scripture is, but though it goes, "Greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world." And I just believe in God, man. I believe in just real positive energy. With that, it just makes everything around you better. I remember I used to come around with negative energy one time. And you ever seen those cartoons where people see you coming in, they go in their door and close the door, or shut down the windows and all this stuff? It was like really, people see me coming like, oh, you're going fan with all the bug. You know what I'm saying? So Alvin Spice, I'll never forget, pulled me to the side and said, fam, I get up every morning and can't wait to see what I got to work on next, or what I got to mix first, or what I got to, deal with for what Dallas going to put in front of me. I can't wait. You can't come around people, man, that feel like that, and then all of a sudden you talking about your problems that you got with this, that, and the third, because then you bringing them down. So if you're going to come into an area with other people trying to be creative, leave that other stuff at the door. Right. Leave it outside. Don't bring it in here with you. You know what I'm saying? Music is a form of emotion anyway. So if you bring some bad emotion and vibes in, 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to get. And it's going to show through your music too. So I'm like, nah, man. I'd just rather just be positive around everybody. And if I'm not, let me stay away and get myself together so that when I do come through,
that's what we
it's going to be nothing but love, man.
Absolutely. I agree. You can't spew your own negative energy on other people, because we all take from each other.
Absolutely.
Oh, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, and I wish you well and much success.
Thank you.
Any last words of wisdom? I feel like you just got so much I can just pull out of you. You're trying to be real quiet today. It's okay.
I got a few little things.
You got a few little things.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, positivity. Keep God first in everything that you're trying to do. For those, it has nothing to do with religion. It's just God is, to me, is a way of life and not a religion. And just, treat people how you want to be treated. And, don't be afraid to share some knowledge, man. You can't take it with you. Once you've gone in 6 feet under, you got to just hope that you done gave enough to somebody to keep it moving in a positive direction.
Definitely.
And like I said, shouts out to Curtis and Patchwerk, man. I love these people.
We love you too. We appreciate you for sitting down with us, and also being on time. You were early. Yes, they said told me you were gonna be here at 10:45, and you were.
I appreciate it.
So I appreciate you for that, and just thank you and much success to you in the future. Can you tell them where they can find you or contact you? On social media.
THE_BEAT beat_FREQZ the Beat Freaks. And that's Instagram, and on Facebook. I feel when you say Facebook, it's like saying MySpace. It's old school. But Facebook, you can find me at Beat Freaks Productions. And that's pretty much it right now.
That's what's up. Well, thank you, K-Fam. And as always, thank you guys for listening. You can follow the podcast at IDM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, as well as myself, Sammy Approved. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for sitting down.
Sammy Approved, yes. Oh, and Sound District.
Oh.
The Sound District is on Instagram.
Absolutely. We appreciate you.
Yes, I appreciate you guys.
Sonically superior.